Hillary Clinton, okay, the only female presidential candidate, Democratic nominee that we've ever had, decides to comment on this because she's trying to launch a new digital series with her daughter. And instead of saying, there are certain things that I think cross over when it comes to class, when it comes to representation and role modeling for young girls, she decides to pretend that she's an embracer of it, which I don't believe. I think she's just pandering. But here's a little bit of what she said as she gushed over this song, Sat 2.
Chelsea follows rap music. She has ever since she was a little girl. But I kind of came to awareness of you with the Cardi B WAP.
I've always wanted to do a song with Cardi. As soon as she sent me the song, I think I sent it back to her like the next day. And it was just so exciting. The men, they seem so confident in what they're saying, and they don't have no problem with talking about their sexuality and how they're gonna have sex with you. So I was like, well, I could do that, and it's gonna sound fire coming from a woman.
It's great to see women be so kind of fierce.
That is my life's mission, to make sure that I'm always unapologetically me.
Oh my God, the absurdity of Chelsea Clinton, who's literally accomplished nothing, piping in with, it's great to see women be so fierce, as though this is some profundity that we're supposed to move on thinking about, Nigel.
Well, it's absolutely ludicrous. And it's interesting, isn't it? I mean, we are a very old country, and yet we've been very lucky. We had Queen Elizabeth I, who saw off the Spanish Armada and kept our independence. We had Queen Victoria, who reigned for 60 years and oversaw the expansion of the British Empire, which I know it's not fashionable to talk about these days, but hey, she made us into the world's leading superpower. And now 70 years of Elizabeth II. I think we've produced some wonderful role models. And I think maybe the Clintons could learn a lesson. You see, rather than the Queen ever pretending to be anything other than she was, what she was able to do was to have fun. Think of the Paddington Bear sketch just 3 months ago, where the Queen, gets the sandwich out of her handbag. Think of the James Bond sketch that she did at the London Olympics in 2012. Right. Did without even telling her family. That's a much better model for female leaders around the world than pretending somehow you're getting down and cool with the kids when it's clearly just not true.
Yeah, that's right. Hillary Clinton went on a day or two ago to compare Nancy Pelosi to the Queen. To say, she reminds her of Queen Elizabeth. Like, oh my, how out of touch can you be?
It's absolutely ridiculous. This woman, her life was devoted to others. It was one of incredible, massive self-sacrifice. She spread kindness and joy wherever she went. She traveled the world in a way that no global leader has ever done in history. Little villages of mud huts in the outback in Africa, wherever she went, and she spread joy wherever she went. And I have to say, when it comes to human kindness and goodness, she exemplified all of those things, those amazing values. And it's why I talked about the greatest generation. These people went to war for liberty and freedom, not just of ourselves, but of countries in Europe and elsewhere around the world. And these days, it seems that we're living in a society where we're all in it for ourselves and to hell with everybody else.
That's right. That's right. And everything gets reduced to, the things over which we have no control, like gender or skin color or what have you. Some of the attacks on the Queen have been just awful. And people are free to say what they want to say, but that doesn't mean we can't push back and say you're absurd.
Megyn, I have to say, I don't know what's going on with the editorial board of the New York Times in particular, but there are other American media outlets, choosing, literally almost before the body was cold, publishing these hard left Marxist academic articles, condemning the Queen, basically saying that she was part of the colonial process and therefore she's guilty for racism and slavery. I can't think of any human being in the world, who's done more for black populations, frankly, than Queen Elizabeth II. And amazing to think, isn't it? She wore uniform. She wore an army uniform in World War II. She stood on the balcony at Buckingham Palace on Victory in Europe Day with Winston Churchill in 1945. The Queen always fought. She always fought against tyranny. She always fought for fairness. And as far as this country is concerned, and this country has changed since World War II, immigration has changed the makeup of this country, but she was always welcoming to all of those communities. And I just think as I say, I don't know what the New York Times are trying to do. Clearly, I think trying to break the link between Brexit Britain and America because they're globalist in their intent.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and you gave me the chill talking about the Queen up there. We have a picture on the board with Winston Churchill. Meanwhile, you've got people like this Carnegie Mellon professor, Uju Anya, who continues to attack the Queen. She made news saying she hoped her death was painful and worse.
Disgusting.
And now she comes out and says, doubles down. Speaking of the New York Times, this is New York Magazine's The Cut, sort of a similar publication, writing that Queen Elizabeth was representative of the cult of white womanhood. Honestly, as though there's something inherently evil about being a white woman. And just to diminish somebody of Queen Elizabeth's stature as representative of the cult of white womanhood is incredibly disrespectful. She gets away with it when there was some pushback by the university who said she doesn't speak for us. Students at the university writing a letter in support of her, criticizing the university's response. Hundreds of current and former students, and of course you're going to be used to this kind of language, Nigel, saying, "We reject calls for civility that are frequently leveraged against the marginalized to silence dissent. We express our solidarity with Dr. Anya and reject the tone policing of those with legitimate grievances." Wow. Have you ever had a friend who's just naturally talented at things? They just pick up a sport or a hobby. They immediately become good at it. They make it look easy. If you don't have that friend, it's you. And we all secretly despise you. The good news is no matter who you are, you can make great food look easy with Good Ranchers. See, Good Ranchers sources the highest quality meat in America. Number one, best. And more importantly, they can prove it. Each piece of meat is from real American farms and is hand cut and trimmed by real American workers. They only source from farms that meet their standards of excellence, which means it's pasture raised. That's what you need to be looking for. No antibiotics ever, and no added hormones. Good Ranchers is so confident in the quality that they sell, they're going to have a 100% satisfaction guarantee on every box they ship to you. Plus, you can use my code, Megyn, to get free shipping and $30 off on your first order. They have won awards like Best Food Subscription, and they have been part of the INC 5,000 list, Inc. 5,000 list of America's fastest growing companies. But their mission is still the same, bringing everyone to the table to share in the best of what makes life good. If you want the best, if you want to be the best, if you want everybody to envy you and your cooking skills, go with Good Ranchers. Visit goodranchers.com/Megyn, that's Megyn, to save on American meat delivered right to your door. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.